Hello. Has anyone heard of StockX before right now? Awesome. Those hands are increasing. We speak in a lot of places for a lot of different reasons to a lot of different audiences, and there may not be any more applicable audience than this right here, because there may not be a more knowledgeable group of people that actually understand fundamentally like what this thing is and what it's built on. On the surface, this is a company about sneakers, right? But this is a consumer marketplace, right? We call this a stock market of things, but this is a consumer marketplace, right? So think an evolution of eBay. All we are is a platform that connects buyers and sellers. But the method of how we connect buyers and sellers is the exact same way that the world's stock markets connect buyers and sellers. And for lack of a less cliche way of saying it, that is truly revolutionary. This does not exist. We didn't make this up, right? All we're doing is taking how something worked here and applying it to here. And so for the next however long this timer runs for, I want to walk through a little bit of how this works and what we've been doing. We launched this company 26 months ago. We launched it 26 months ago, and we have over 200 employees and do over $2 million of sales a day because this works. This model works. So I want to run through some of this, and then if there's time, we can do questions or whatever, but I don't know. Thank you for having me here, Howard. I also wanted to point out, did anyone notice it's not October? I don't know if that was all right. All right, again, it's great, right? For most audiences, you got to go really deep into what this is. What we've done, right, when we say that we connect buyers and sellers the way the stock market does is StockX is a true live bid-ask market, right? You have a standardized product. You have a single product page, and you bring everything together in bids and asks. So when you think about, like, what is the fundamental difference between, say, this and eBay, if you go to eBay and you search for these shoes, you'll get 1,000 listings, 2,000 listings, right? And you got to go figure out, do I buy from this guy? Do I buy from that guy? Is that one Rio? Why is this guy in China? What's that picture of? But if you want to buy a share of Apple stock, there's one ticker symbol for Apple stock. And every bid and every ask happens at that same place. And so that's fundamentally what we've done, right? We've created a standardized product and using true bid-ask market to do this. So we think there's fundamentally three tenets, right? Three underlying principles of how stock market commerce works, right? It's anonymity, authenticity, and transparency, right? And I'm going to walk through each of these, and we'll start with the easiest one, right? So authenticity. At StockX, every single sneaker and watch and handbag and clothing, everything passes through our operations facilities. We have 2 in Detroit and 1 in Tempe, Arizona. Everything passes through us, and we physically authenticate the product. We make sure that it's real, it's the right product, it's what it's supposed to be, and then we pass it off, and we send it off to the buyer. If you're a 15-year-old kid and you could care less what a stock market is or a bid or an ask, you know you're never going to get a fake pair of Jordans. And that alone is huge value that a lot of people don't do. And we've absolutely taken full advantage of that, and a lot of the growth is based on that. But for us, authenticity is just the ante to play, right? If people weren't 100% confident that what they were going to get is real, if they thought for a second that they were going to get a fake pair of Jordans, it changes their perception of value. It changes how much you're willing to pay for something. And if you're a seller and you think that you're going to get a scam chargeback of someone saying they sent you a fake pair of shoes, well, it changes how much you're willing to pay for it, right? You buy a share of Apple stock, you never worry that you're going to get a fake share of Apple stock. No. So for us, authenticity is just the ante to play, right? It just facilitates the larger model. Anonymity. All right. In every other marketplace, eBay, Amazon, etc., there's so much time and noise and energy spent into who is the seller, where are they located, how many reviews do they have, how many sales do they have. What we're doing is we're trying to validate the product by validating the seller, right? But if we physically authenticate the product, then what difference does it make? What difference does it make where it came from? What difference does it make who sold it? when you buy a share of Apple stock from the New York Stock Exchange, there's an actual seller on the other end of that specific trade selling you that specific share, but you don't know who that is and you don't care, right? All you care about is the price that you paid for it. And because it comes through the New York Stock Exchange, you know that it's real. And so for that reason, StockX is completely anonymous. And on the surface, from a marketplace, our initial reaction is that's a bad thing, but that is a good thing. That is what provides the transparency, the liquidity, and everything that goes into how this market is more efficient than anything else. And that's really the last part, right? The last part is transparency. This all leads to transparency and having a market that's more transparent, which doesn't exist in the rest of the e-commerce landscape. There's a longer version of this presentation. Howard only gave me 20 minutes, so we're doing the shorter version. But there's a longer version where we walk through the fact that on eBay, on Amazon, there's no concept of market price, right? If you go search for a pair of Yeezys on eBay, you will get 1,000 listings. And some people will be selling it for $3,000, and another person for $500, another person for $800. And you're left to figure out, well, what's the real price of this? We don't see the closed transactions, right? We don't see the history of what things are actually selling for. And so on StockX, I want to show you a product page. And we're not going to run through all of it, but I want to show you a product page. This is for a shoe called the Jordan 12 Wings, right? And this shoe, when it came out, the week after it came out on eBay, if you were to have done a search result, there were 1,223 results for this specific shoe, right? 1,200 people trying to sell you this shoe. And they ranged from $25,000 down to $600, right? But we can tell you, if you look in the upper right left-hand corner, the last sale, and the actual sale for this shoe was only $800. And this is what a history looks like. It's literally Yahoo Finance or Google Finance for sneakers, right? You can see every sale that's ever happened for this shoe in any size, in any marketplace, et cetera, right? It gives you all the data of what something is actually worth, what it actually sells for, before you go down the process of trying to buy it for yourself. Look, at first glance, right, this product page is a bit more cumbersome than what we're used to seeing in the e-commerce landscape, right? In most of the e-commerce world, there's a single button, right, buy. You have a product and one button, buy. But it's a difference between having 1,223 pages with one button or one page with 3 buttons, right? That's what we're doing. And these 3 buttons should be very familiar to this audience in terms of what you do with them. But the one in the middle, right, is the lowest ask. So you can buy this shoe right now for $849, right? Lowest ask, $849. And if we open this up and view all asks, you can see every listing for sale right here all in one place, right? $849, $875, $975, right? There's about 15 listed for sale right here, but the only one you can actually buy is the lowest ask, right? That's how we get to a market price. It's great to, we don't have to talk about how that comes up, how you create a market price, right? The difference, of course, for us is the spread here is about $100, right? In the actual market, the spread is fractions of a penny because you have so much liquidity. There's some sneakers on StockX where the spread is $1, $2, $5, and you can literally see sales, bids and asks coming off the board real time as those bids and asks are matching, right? And then here's the last part, right? Highest bid, $750, right? So bids on StockX, this is tied to someone's PayPal or their credit card. This is true consumer demand. This is the piece of the entire e-commerce landscape that does not exist, true consumer demand. And we can see view all bids here. We can see there's 3 bids right now, $750, $600, $499. And what that enables, just like in the market, it enables the ability to sell a product immediately, right? This sell button here on the right-hand side, that is the big deal, right? That's what doesn't exist. In the rest of the entire e-commerce world, the buyer has all the power, right? A widget's for sale, it's $100. Do you want to buy it, yes or no? And the buyer says, I will either buy it or not. But that's not how it works if you want to sell a share of stock. You don't have to go list your Apple stock for sale and hope that someone comes and buys it. No, there's a market price. You go and you sell it immediately, right? This concept of sell now, like we call it internally, we use this term sell now, like that's what doesn't exist. That's what creates all the transparency and efficiencies. That's what StockX is doing. And we've started with sneakers, but we've been going into other categories as well. But it's creating this. But here's the thing. This is just the first layer of this. Let's see where, I don't even know what slides we have. I'm going to flip through a bunch of slides. All right. Let's do this. All right. So we started as a data company, right? We started as this fundamental, we started as a price guide for sneakers, and we built that into a better secondary market. And today, this just is a better model for secondary markets, and we've proved it. We do over $2 million a day in sales. But the bigger idea here, if you premise everything on the way that the actual market works, is that anything that you guys are thinking about, anything that we're talking about today, and just to fit in with everyone else, and crypto, right, works. You can do all of this with this for consumer goods. That's the bigger idea. So we start as a better secondary market, but then we literally become a retail market. You start to blur the line between what is retail and what is resale, right? That's a market, right? That's a stock market. An IPO happens of Facebook stock, it goes into that market, and that same market continues to trade it. And there's probably no time in the history of the entire world that's better to be disrupting retail than right now. And so the way that we think about this, that has already started to happen in a consumer landscape, which is very, very rare. Primary and secondary markets really don't work together in a consumer landscape. In the business world, of course they do. They always do, right? The best example of this is ticketing. So this is 10, 12, 15 years ago, right? Leagues and teams are arresting ticket scalpers. They're trying to shut down ticketing websites. But today StubHub is the official resale marketplace of Major League Baseball. And not only that, StubHub has primary ticket deals with the Sixers and the Yankees and a few other teams. So if you are a Sixers season ticket holder, your tickets are delivered to you via StubHub, i.e. the retail transaction. But if you want to resell a few, you're already on StubHub, right? We're bringing together primary and secondary markets. And in sneakers and in other consumer goods, right, the secondary sneaker market has existed since 1985. But Nike's always had this very willful blindness policy of separating primary and secondary. And that's what StockX is doing, right? It's bringing together primary and secondary markets. And we've actually done a few of these. So last January, StockX did its first IPO. And we worked with Nike and the Cavs and LeBron. And we released LeBron's first retro sneaker. So this was the first time that Nike had ever re-released LeBron James' first sneaker. This was a very big deal in the sneaker world. And they sold it on StockX first before it went to any other retail channel. And we created this ridiculous package that came in a box made out of wood from the Cavaliers championship court. They cut up the court and we created a sneaker box out of it, right? And it included an actual Cavs championship ring. And I have one in my bag because of course I would carry that ring everywhere I go. And here's the thing, this was on SportsCenter, this was homepage in the New York Times, and it wasn't homepage in the New York Times because of the ring in the box, although that helped. It was homepage of the New York Times because it was a really big deal about Nike going direct to the secondary market. And here's the thing, and this is the whole thing, right? There were 46 of these packages created. They sold for an average of $6,000 a piece. We gave half the money to charity, right? But there were 7 people that wanted to resell these packages after the initial IPO. There were 7 people that after they purchased that from us wanted to resell that. And we let those people resell it without ever taking possession. We literally created day trading in consumer goods, right? This is like true commodities trading, right? Like oil futures and corn and yes, this was the best picture I could find for commodities trading, right? But this is a big deal, right? And so then it looks like this. This is the layers of the business, right? It was a data company, now we're a better resale market. We start to work with brands to literally IPO goods, and then you can literally put an investment layer on top of the whole thing. And we don't do this at scale yet today, but we will. I mean, we absolutely will. And we probably have to go register with the CFTC and become a commodities exchange. But that's the bigger idea when everything is built on the exact same way the stock market works, right? We call this a stock market of things. That is not a marketing gimmick, right? this is genuinely built the way the stock market's built to do what we've done for commodity. It's been the most efficient form of commerce for hundreds of years, and we want to apply that to consumer goods. So anyway, that's what we're doing. That's StockX. Thanks for listening.